We have two great guests with us today. Great friend of mine, more like a brother, Mr. Travis McLaughlin, and he brought his cohort, Mr. Anthony Winston. I like that first name, Anthony. All right, and just glad to have you guys here with us in the studio. They are representing Lincoln Heritage, life insurance and financial group. And I was led and compelled to bring you guys on this morning to talk to us. I've had Travis on before, but just felt the need to come back and reiterate some things that we need to know in our community as it relates to life and burial insurance.
Yes, sir, Pastor. I want to thank you for having me again. Hello, everyone. My name is Travis McLaughlin, as Pastor said. I basically just come to talk to you about life insurance. It's a very important thing that we need. Lately in the community, it's really being passed to the youth that's going. You know, they always say it's not the leaning tree that go first. You know, we kind of like don't think insurance is important, but insurance is very important. I want to talk to y'all a little bit today about whole life insurance and the difference between whole life and term. I don't know if y'all know the difference between whole life and term. To keep it simple, term is temporary. That's basically to keep it simple. Something's gonna happen to it. Either it's gonna disappear or it's gonna go up. Something's gonna happen to it. That's the reason why they call it term. A lot of us got insurance and we don't even know what we have. You know, it's our job to get to you and talk to you and give you the knowledge about term insurance of what you have. I don't care if you don't have insurance with my company or with any other company. I would love to sit down with you and just look over your policies, no matter if it's from United, Jeffrey Pilot, and no disrespect to none of those life insurance companies, just to let you know what you have. There's also whole life policies. Whole life policies are going to stay forever. They're going to always be there. The price is not going to go up. Now, I'll be honest with you, Pastor, when you start to get up of age, people of age need to get a whole life policy. They don't need a term policy. They don't need nothing that when they turn 65, it's going to go up or it's going to disappear. You know, they need a whole life policy. So that's the thing that's going on between whole life and term policies. Here's another thing. We got to get our kids insured, y'all. Lately, we've been watching kids pass away in the community. No life insurance. GoFundMe is not life insurance. A barbecue plate, a cooking chicken, you know, or running a 5-mile K to raise up money for life insurance. If we know better, y'all, we got to do better.
Like you said, you already kind of touched on the nucleus of what we're meeting about today, because, you know, by being a clergyman or a pastor, you know, not to disclose anyone's personal information, and I wouldn't dare do that, but there have been numerous families wherein the family's already grieving the loss of their loved one, and now they're trying to scramble to come up with funds to just pay for the funeral. And I know the average funeral cost around here is probably $5,000 to $7,000, somewhere along those lines, depending on what you get. And it's just, you know, I often say love doesn't stop at the grave. And if you love your family, if you really care about their future and their well-being, you really need to consider getting some life and burial insurance. Am I right?
You're definitely right about that, Pastor. Pastor, we got policies as low as $15. Let's say an elderly woman, let's say she's 65 or 67 years old. She's probably think that, you know, say she has COPD, and she's probably thinking that no insurance company can insure her. We can insure her. She can get a policy as low as $15. Here's the thing, Pastor. It might not be what she wants, but something is better than nothing.
That's right.
I'm going to be real with you. When my mom passed, she didn't have life insurance. Me and my sister had to come together. We had to get up $1,000, and God bless the late Floyd. He actually, Ellie Floyd.
Yes,
yeah, thank God for him, because he took the $1,000 from me, and me and my sister made payments on it until we paid it off, and eventually my sister finished paying it off because, you know, she was in a better financial situation than I was then. But honestly, Pastor, like I said, policies are low as $15. I mean, we gonna spend it at Burger King. They gonna buy Jordans. They gonna go to the club. And I'm not trying to talk about anybody, but we gonna do everything else besides what we need to do. And I just think it's just so important that you have life insurance. I mean, policies as low as $15. It doesn't matter your situation, whether it's HIV, cancer, COPD, you had an aneurysm, stroke. It doesn't matter. You know, we can insure anybody. And that's the one thing I love about our company. Another thing I want y'all to realize too, there's a thing called 2-year contestable period.
Right. I was going to ask you about that.
Understand the difference. There's a 2-year contestable period and there's a 2-year waiting period.
All right.
So here's the deal. Let's talk about the contestable period. If I was doing a policy for a person, let's say Octoball. Hope there's nobody named.
You've been hanging around.
I've been hanging around you, Pastor. Octoball. So Octobar took out a policy, and what the company gonna do if they pass within 2 years, they gonna pull up the medical records for the last 2 years. Remember, y'all, this is 2-year contestable period. So what happens is, long as Octobar questions and everything came out right, the company's gonna pay the full benefit amount. If they find out that Octobar told a tale or didn't tell the truth about his health situation, then they're gonna deny him the claim, and the only thing they're gonna give back is the money that they put in, the return of premiums, because Octobar told a tale about the health.
Right.
So y'all, that's a 2-year contestable period. All right. Now you have a 2-year waiting period. Here's the thing about a 2-year waiting period. A 2-year waiting period usually happens to people that have chronic diseases such as COPD, HIV, cancer within the last 2 years, stroke, aneurysm, congestive heart failure, things of that nature is considered to be a chronic illness. Here's the thing about it. You're going to have to wait 2 years before you get the whole benefit amount. With our company, if something happens to you the first year, let's say Octobar premium was $50 a month, right? They're going to give Octobar back every $50 premium he put in plus 10% interest.
Okay.
If something happens to Octobar the second year, they're going to give him every premium he put back in plus 20% interest. After 2 years, then the policy will pay the whole benefit amount, whether you got $10,000 or $20,000, etc. So understand the difference. There's a 2-year contestable period, and like I said, there's a 2-year waiting period. There's a 2-year contestable period with every company, you know. So no matter who you with, they're gonna ask you for those files unless you had it over 2 years. Now here's the thing we've been going through in the community, Pastor, and I really want to come up and talk about this here. I can write a policy on somebody, they can have it for a couple months or a year, and they let it lapse, right? There's a thing called reinstatement. I'm quite sure, you know, for those you don't know about life insurance, you know about car insurance. If your policy lapses, you just get it reinstated. When you reinstate that policy, here's the key. Your 2-year contestable period starts over. So let's say a person took out a policy, they let the policy lapse, they get sick, then they decide to get the policy back. And let's say they pass away a month after that. The company's gonna pull the records because his 2-year contestable period starts over. And if they find out that Octobar told another tale about his reinstatement, that he was in perfect health, they're not gonna pay. You wanna keep these policies, y'all. You don't want them to lapse. You wanna keep it past the 2 years. After a 2-year period, there's no contestable period. There's no waiting period. The company's gonna pay just like that. Pastor, like I said, I know we can't say no names, but I've got people that I did life insurance for, and a loved one passed, and the money is in their account in 24 hours after the death certificate has been turned in. Wow. No other company besides Lincoln pays in 24 hours. I don't care who you name. Nobody's ever paid like that. But like I said, the company is awesome, y'all. Do not let fear or just being embarrassed that you don't have life insurance. For those of you that know me and see me in the community, there's other people in the community that sell life insurance. You don't have to get it with me. That's right. I mean, get it with anybody. Just make sure you have it. You know, we shouldn't have to, like I said, do GoFundMe.coms, donate money, fish plates. We shouldn't have to do that. If we know better, we got to do better. Insure those kids. Pastor, $2 gets a child $5,000 worth of coverage. Right. Every $2 gets the child $5,000. So you probably saying, Travis, what if I want to spend $4 on my child? Like I said, every $2, so that gives a child $10,000 worth of coverage for $4. That's if he's 17 or she's 17 and under, okay? If they're a little older, then the price is a little different, but it's still cheap. There's no reason why nobody shouldn't have any life insurance. Exactly. Everybody should have life insurance, right? You know? But Pastor, like I said, it's becoming an epidemic, you know, for us losing, you know, people in the community, and I think life insurance is just very important, and these are things that people need to know.
And I like something that you said earlier about that you're willing to just sit down and look at what people have. My grandmother, she paid religiously for years, and I won't name the people that she paid to. Uh-huh. We were under the assumption that, you know, grandma was fully covered. Grandma passed. We turned in the death certificate. After all of those years of paying, she didn't even have enough coverage to bury her. And so again, not because we know them, but it just happened. Mr. L.E. Floyd, during that time,
yes, sir.
And he was even more gracious toward us. He didn't even require a down payment during that time. on my word, I told him that if he would bury my grandmother, that I would make sure that he got his money. I had some family members that agreed to work with me, and then you know how that goes. You start out with 10, you end up with 2 or 3. Matthew 18 and 20 with 2 or 3s in the midst. And it ended up being the 3 of us that ended up paying it off. But, you know, many funeral homes won't do that now.
Nah.
You know, people's integrity is in question now. You can't trust folk because, hey, they gotta eat, they gotta live.
It's
You
a
know, and
business.
so there are so many that may be under the misconception of having coverage just because they have some type of policy, but that under coverage is what I want you to reiterate on.
Definitely that, Pastor. A lot of those policies, and no disrespect, y'all, to the world, if you of age and you had those policies back, like I said, in 78, 1980, a lot of those policies are industrial policies, meaning they're $1,000 or less. You know, actually the cash value is more than the policy. I seen a situation, Pastor, where a person had a $500 policy on them, but they had like $1,000 cash value. So when I sold them the policy, I showed it to them. I said, "Ma'am, you got more cash value than the policy is worth.
Right.
Why don't you cash in this $1,000 and put it towards, you know, a life insurance policy, or put it towards your burial, because you're gonna keep paying this premium forever, and you living forever." So those policies like that, Pastor, those are old policies and stuff like that. They usually don't sell them no more. Mostly nowadays the average policy is $10,000 or better. You know, Lincoln is probably one of the other companies besides a few that you can actually just get $1,000 worth of coverage or $2,000 worth of coverage. I'm gonna tell you a situation why you probably want $2,000 worth of coverage. Believe it or not, I sold a lady a policy, and she said, "Travis, I've had insurance for a long time. I don't need life insurance, but you said I can use this money for anything." And I said, "Yes, ma'am." So she was always big in the community for feeding the community. She just took out $2,000 on herself, Pastor, just to feed the community potato salad and chicken. That's all she wanted to do, is just feed the community, because she's already had life insurance. I had another lady that took out $4,000 worth of coverage. The purpose of that was she had 2 kids that was in the military. So what happens is, if something happens, the $4,000 flies them home from their duty station. After the funeral over, it flies them back. But the daughter was like, "Mama, you always talking about funeral and burial." And she's like, "Baby, we gotta be prepared, you know." So those are reasons that you would take out, you know, $2,000 or $3,000 policies. And on the other hand, like I said, when my mama passed, she didn't have nothing. I wish we'd had $1,000 worth of coverage, because that'd have been $1,000 I ain't have to borrow for anybody to give it to Mr. Floyd, you know, to help me out. And God bless his heart. Another thing I want to discuss, Pastor, when I talk to a lot of people, and this is what they say, I ask them about life insurance. "Well, I got it on my job. I got it on my job. I'm good." If you plan on working there forever, you got it on your job. You know, just think about how old we are now and how many jobs that, you know, someone's been through. Some of y'all has been blessed to work one job forever, and kudos to you. I take my hat off to you. But I wasn't blessed like that. You know, I worked a couple of jobs before I got into the insurance agency. But just think about it. All the jobs I worked, they came with life insurance, with group term policies. But when you leave those jobs, you can't take that coverage with you. And if you do take it with you, it goes from a group term to an individual rate. So you may be paying $13 for $25,000 worth of coverage. But here's the problem. If you decide to leave, then that 13 could turn into 135 or 235. And that's the reason why I try to tell everybody, stress, get something on the outside besides your job. Because, let's say a person get hurt. You got your short-term disability. After short-term disability, you got long-term disability. After long-term disability, if you think that company gonna keep paying your bills, you wrong. You out the door after long-term disability. And that's it. And you have no more insurance. You worked there for all those years, gave those people all your life and everything, and you have no insurance. So it's always best to grab something on the side, because you just never know.
That's right.
Another thing I like about our company, Pastor, is if you traveling and you 200 miles or less, we bring the body back for free.
Oh, wow.
That's never been heard of, right? And like I said, that's in our presentation kit. So let's say you in Virginia, and Virginia is 200 miles or less, and you get an accident. We bringing the body back for free. So now we don't have to talk to the funeral home to figure out how much is they gonna charge us to bring the body back. The body comes back for free. You know, we the only company that do that, that offer that. You know, so I think that's definitely a plus. But like Pastor was saying, y'all, no matter who you got coverage with, And like I said, just to name some of our other companies: State Farm, Farm Bureau, Nationwide, Allstate, United, Prime America. It doesn't matter. I will come by. It costs you nothing but time. If you want to talk, I will come by for free, me and my agents, and we will sit there and we talk to you about that policy. You do not have to purchase a policy from us. That's my job. I just want to alert you of what type of policy you got, because you might got an accidental policy and you don't know it's an accidental policy. And for those you don't know, the only way you gonna get paid is if you die in an accident. Right. You know, you paying $23 for a family plan, and you thinking that it's really a family plan, but it's a family accidental plan. You know, so we need to be aware of what we got, and just the knowledge about life insurance. So like I said, I would definitely leave my contact. I put it out there in the air that y'all can call me. If you got your pens and pencil, I'm gonna repeat it twice. The area code is 910-495-6883. Again, the area code is 910-495-6883. You're welcome to call me anytime. And like I said, it costs you nothing. The only thing about it, I'm going to tell you the truth. If you got a policy and the policy expires, don't get mad at me because I'm looking over your policy and I'm telling you that it's going to expire at 65, you know. But like I said, a lot of people got policies like that, and I do not mind looking through it, me and my agents, and giving y'all the knowledge. You do not have to purchase anything. You do not owe us anything. I just want to give y'all the knowledge and the wisdom about life insurance.
That prompted a question. In the event that someone's term life policy expires, say at age 65, are they still able to get the cash value out of that policy?
See, here's the problem. There's no cash value in term. So let's say you got this term policy. Man, I don't want to call companies. I can't wait to, like, I love sitting there, pastors doing policy reviews. I love to walk in a house and a person has a policy that they had for years. Because when I open it, I can break down the cash value or what it's going to pay, if it's universal or flexible. I love stuff like that. But the thing about it is, if you had that policy that you've been paying $19 or $29 for like $80,000, and you've been paying it for years, and eventually it goes up once, it's going to continue to go up. When you get to 65, and I don't want to call this company name until I get there or see you, it's going to expire at 65. You cannot get any cash value back from it. It's done. That's it. No cash value. You paid all those years on those policies. But here's the thing about it, Pastor. Term is a financial investment, meaning if you got a family such as I do, you know, a big family like I do, if something happens, you do need a term policy, because that's a lump sum of money that can take care of financial investments, house mortgage, kids' college tuitions, things around the house, because something has to supplement somebody's income. Let's just be real. $10,000 ain't gonna supplement income. You know, that's just for a burial, you know. So if you can do both, definitely get you a whole life policy on yourself, that when that term policy goes out, at least you got a burial policy to take care of you. The way that the world or the environment got it set up, Pastor, is that the older we get, the less coverage we need. You know, you find your loved one at 23, you get married, you got your 30-year house mortgage. By the time you get 50, you know, you done had your first car, the car of your dreams. Now when you get 50 years old, your house paid off. So now you don't require that type of insurance coverage. You know, for it's $50,000, $100,000. You straight with burial policy. Your kids are grown, they're out on their own, so you don't need that much life insurance. But here's the thing, Pastor, life don't work that way. Some of us don't get to 40 and 50 before we get a house and things like that, you know. But I understand you got to crawl before you walk. And like I said, you got to get what you can afford, and something is better than nothing. But if you can, yeah, you definitely need a whole life policy, and you need a term policy just to take the place of, you know, a financial investment. If something goes wrong in the house, or somebody lose a husband or wife, it can take care of their whole house, and it won't leave them in debt.
Right. And even something that we did look at doing, even as a pastor, if something happens to the pastor, that impact that it could have on the church during that time of transition. So even to our parishioners who are listening, you know, you may want to consider that, because, you know, it's just a sad reality. When that pastor goes off the scene, sometimes that church can go through financially until they're able to kind of, you know, get their footing back.
Build up. And a touch base, as a matter of fact, I'm going to touch home with this one. And I can say the name because it's my grandmother. My grandmother, she stayed in Red Springs. Her and my granddaddy, Larbell McKeithen and Alvin McKeithen, for those of you know my grandparents. And I'm going to explain this to you, and for those you know it, you can say, wow, so this is what really happened. Grandma didn't have enough coverage on granddaddy. Granddaddy was the breadwinner for the military. But when Granddaddy left, Grandma was forced to move. Dad tried to help her the longest to pay the bills. He tried to pay bills at his house and her house. He couldn't afford both bills. I'm going to be honest with you. When Medicaid step in, they want to know everything. They want to know your cash value, what you got in your bank account, or anything before they give you any type of assistance. And y'all, I'm just being real. Before Medicaid or Medicare step in, they want to know what type of money you got in your bank account. They want to know how many cars you own. They want to know everything before they give you any assistance. So here's what Grandma had to do. Grandma had to give up everything. Grandma ended up moving in those apartments behind Food Line in Red Springs, which y'all know is off Mount Tabor Road. And no disrespect, I'm going to tell you, most of those people staying back there, it's only one person staying in the house. You never see two. It's always one person. The reason why you see one person is because they was in the same situation my grandma and granddad was in. They didn't have enough insurance on the breadwinner. So they forced to move out the big house because they can't afford it anymore. And now they got to give up their lively things that they worked their whole life for just to move in those apartments behind the road. And so Grandma did. Y'all know the outcome. $515 Social Security check, $125 food stamp card, you know? And she lived off that. And then God bless her heart, she passed. But the reason why I'm telling y'all this, if Grandma would have had enough coverage on Granddaddy, then she could have lasted a little bit longer to see which direction she needed to go. But because she didn't have enough coverage, she was forced to give up everything she had and settle to move in those apartments back there, those single living houses. So that's the reason why you see those people in those houses, because somebody didn't have enough insurance on the husband or the spouse, and they was left with that. So y'all, with that being said, don't be a statistic. You know, if we know better, do better. If you're a husband and wife, make sure the husband and wife is insured to the fullest. Because you got to realize the way the world's going is taking two incomes to survive, y'all. You know, everything's going up besides our money, you know. So if that's the case, make sure your breadwinner is insured. Because if you lose one income, you will be a statistic.
Absolutely. And I know that you've already given your number twice, but could you give it one more time just in case any of our listeners would like to get in contact with you?
Again, my area code, my number is 910-495-6883. Again, 910-495-6883. And it costs you nothing for me to come out there and look at your policy. Me and my team are ready. We got over 30 some agents on my team, which is a Travis Insurance group. The Carrier Wilkins group, we got over 100 agents. So it's 100 agents in your area that can come and assist you at any time. But like I said, just reach out to me. And like I said, no question is a dumb question. You don't know if you don't reach out and ask. Don't sit back. And if you're sitting back now, you don't know where your policy at, and you at the house, you listen to this radio station, you need to be calling me. Because I will come there and we will order you a policy from whatever company it is. I will call, I will Google the number, and we will get you another policy. I want everybody to have the knowledge about life insurance and have their policy on hand.
Absolutely. And I really appreciate your passion and desire to help our community. And so glad to have you, my friend, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Travis,
I appreciate you for bringing me out.
Mr. Travis McLaughlin, and today his silent partner, Mr. Anthony Winston.
I'm actually training him today.
I see. You're good. This is great training ground. Again, in all sincerity, thank you guys for coming and putting this word out to our community and to our listeners. And before we close, are there any closing remarks that you guys have?
I just want to thank you for bringing me out, Pastor. Winston's want to say anything? He's good. For those of y'all that do have Facebook, y'all can look me up on Facebook with Travis Styles on Facebook, or if you know my wife or you know anybody in the community, on Facebook, I got a T&L Characters page with the kids that does birthday parties. But other than that, you can look me on Facebook, or again call my number and reach out to me. Like I said, don't be shy, don't be scared. You know, we are trained for this, and we're here to help you.
I do have one thing to say.
Yeah.
Sure. Hey, this is Anthony with Lincoln Heritage. I do have one thing, especially for the young folk. I know the biggest thing is that we don't think we're not going to die. I'm just letting you know, like Mr. Travis did say earlier, we're the ones that's going the fastest because everything is moving at fast pace. So if you want to insure your car, insure your life, just make sure that everything is safe. That's all I got to say.
Thank you so much, Mr. Winston. We appreciate your input, and again, we appreciate you guys coming and just want to